Well, guys, thanks for bearing with us. We managed to get through all of that and get started pretty much right on time, maybe 1 minute after. Thank you very much for being here today. Thanks for attending the training. As Valerie said, there's a lot of great speakers today. So, please be sure to stay all day if you can, and definitely check out tomorrow as well, because everyone that's speaking has a unique take on the market and has a unique way of trading. So, events like this are really a great way to get different ideas for ways to trade and find methods, or maybe even a combination of methods, things that are going to best suit you and your trading style, because that's what it's all about, right? There's no magic bullet. There's no, air quote, best way to trade. The best trading method is the one that gives you an edge and that you can execute consistently time and time again. It's all about the consistency. Also, to put you at ease, I don't have anything to sell today, so you can focus on what I'm going to teach and what I'm going to talk about. I know it's a bad business model, but I'm not selling anything. I have nothing to sell. So this is 100% actionable content, no catch. So I'm even going to give you tools at the end if you want them that you can download and use. So the title of my presentation today is Double Your Forex Profits with Half the Effort. I've been trading with this method since 2012. So if you've heard me speak about Forex before, you've seen me done this exact same presentation. I've done this presentation over and over since about 2014, actually. So it's all about consistent, not shiny new objects, right? It's all about the consistency. I do trade multiple markets. Some of you that are here today might know me from some other channels that I have. I do trade other markets, but I am in all those markets. I'm particularly fond of trading in the direction of the trend. So I'm going to teach you how I exploit an edge in Forex to find trends and get in on trends earlier. Now, personally, I do think Forex is one of the easiest markets out there to trade, and it's for the reason that I'm going to talk to you about here in just a moment. So as we go ahead and get into this thing today, it's important that I point out that I'm just a guy on the internet, not a licensed investment advisor. I'm not holding any governmental distinctions. I'm sure you're going to see this slide over and over with every presenter, but it's something we need to put up there. Basically, we're educating you about something that we've learned and used and love, but always encourage you to do your own due diligence before you make any decisions or start trading anything at all. Bottom line is this: trading involves risk, and you should never trade with money that you can't afford to lose. Also, as people talk about results, whether they're real results or hypothetical results or simulated results, no matter what it is, it's never a guarantee of future results. I mean, we can't predict the future. No one knows what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, much less 5 hours or 5 days or 5 weeks from now, right? So just keep that in mind. I hope that's clear enough. Everyone is an adult here. I'm pretty sure we're all adults. So you might have your kids watching with you since we're all sequestered at home, but we're all adults and we're responsible for our own actions. So let's go ahead and get on to it. So the interesting part of the webinar, especially today talking about Forex, is the majority of folks that watch Forex, and I don't know what percentage, probably a pretty large percentage, you're doing something that might put you in a position where you're missing out on some significant profits, or maybe even failing as a result of not looking at the right information. So if I were to ask you a question, if I just put up this chart right here, which is fairly meaningless, but if I put you in front of this, you'd want to know something, right? You'd want to know, whether at a pretty quick glance, what direction price is going to move, right? You'd want to know, is price going to go up? Is price going to go down, right? You'd want to know that. Now, I'm not going to see your chat. It's hidden behind the presentation. I hide it so I don't get distracted, because while I can walk and chew gum at the same time, I can't talk and read chat at the same time. I'm like that dog. I forget what movie it is. That dog, squirrel. I'll get looking at chat. I won't see it. So I'm not going to be reading your chat until the very end when we get to the questions. But do participate, whether you're just nodding your head at home or answering to yourself. Do participate, because the more you participate, the more this solidifies the things that we're talking about and helps you along with things that we're gonna say here today. So anyway, it would be a valuable skill to be able to know pretty quickly, with a high degree of probability, which direction price is going to go next. I think everyone agrees that's what we want to know when we're in the market trading. So if we look at a pair chart, pick whatever your favorite pair is. A lot of currency traders trade on specific pairs. Like I trade the Euro USD, or I trade the pound yen, or whatever it might be. But if you pick your favorite pair chart, again, the same thing. You want to know with a high degree of confidence when the market's going to be trending and when it's going to be sideways, right? If we know when it's sideways, it'd be beneficial to us, I think, if we can avoid getting caught in those flat markets and getting chopped out, right, with that up and down sideways motion. So, I mean, if we were able to do that, that'd be beneficial, right, if we knew when a market was moving sideways. So imagine how many fewer losses you'd have if you could avoid those flat whipsaw types of markets, right? So, we want to know when the market's trending. We want to know when it's going to be sideways. And if we can spot that in advance, that would be very helpful to us. I think that would give us much bigger profits and would certainly help us with our overall trading success levels, right? So we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to be talking about how we can actually do those things. What are some tools? What are some techniques? What are some things that we can be looking at in order to give ourselves that advantage in the marketplace? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to run through a couple of things today. We're going to teach you how to identify at a glance which way price has that high probability of moving. We're going to be able to look at that and understand where price is going so that we can have a potentially a better opportunity to win, right? We're going to teach you how to, I don't know what just happened there. We're going to teach you how to spot trends before they begin so that, again, we have that opportunity to get in early on something, which allows us to increase the amount of money that we make on that next winning trade. And we're also going to teach you how to avoid those choppy markets. Right, we're going to teach you something that you can look at that's going to give you more confidence when you're trading Forex. And this is all important to us because the Forex market continues to grow. It grows year over year over year. It is the biggest, most liquid, easiest to access with fantastic volatility, consistent trends, and just really more opportunities than any other market out there in history. Forex is an amazing market. And if you know how to trade it right, just like Valerie was just talking about, it's almost an opportunity to print money if you know what you're doing, right? Yet at the same time, the Forex market continues to grow, it continues to get bigger, but we see that same failure rate with traders. I mean, 98% of traders, that's a number we see a lot. 98% of traders just continue to fail over and over and over. Part of that might be mindset. Part of it's the fact that traders aren't looking at the right pieces of information, or maybe not using the right strategies. Also, a lot of the strategies that are taught in Forex are missing a key component because they're looking at the market in the same way they look at other markets, and Forex is very different. We're going to get to that in just a moment. The Forex market is very different. So if we're missing that vital ingredient, we're basically taking away part of the edge that we think we have, and we're just tossing it out the window. So the folks that do have advantages are the educated traders, the ones that understand how the markets work and can take advantage of that. Trading ultimately is a zero-sum game, and we want to be on the right side of that so that we've got an edge that we can utilize and put ourselves in that winner's circle. And what we're going to teach you today is something that you can apply to really any trading style, any trading method. It's just another way of looking at the market that's going to help you solidify this trading strategies that you might be using. It's just another thing to look at and consider in this unique market. So first, just a really quick bit about me. I'm going to blow through this because I know we have limited time today, but some of you that might be watching, you probably know a little bit about me. You might know who I am. For those of you that don't, you're going, well, who's this Brian guy? why do I care? This is me. That's me and my family. We absolutely love to travel. First and foremost, I'm a husband and a father. I've designed my life around my family. So everything I do is aimed at things I enjoy doing. I've gotten to a point in my life where if I don't like it, I don't do it, right? We love to travel. We've lived across the U.S. Everywhere from Nevada to Florida. I never lived in California. I never liked the tax structure there and just never made it that extra state over. I love California, but we lived in, from Texas down to Florida and, places in between. We actually settled in Texas right now. We've also lived out of the country for a few years. We lived in Costa Rica and in Argentina for a while. and we travel. Up until this quarantine thing, we would travel almost monthly, go somewhere new. Enjoyed visits through 28 different countries over the last few years, some extensive, some very short. It just kind of depended. For about a 5-year period, we were actually, I'm doing air quotes here, but we were homeless. We just traveled from place to place. If we liked an area, we'd stay in it until our visa ran out. And if we didn't, we'd move on. So pretty fun lifestyle. It was all made possible by, working in the financial niche and, being able to use my laptop to make money. Since 2008, I've been working with traders to help traders find their path to success. But I didn't start out that way. I was a corporate guy, probably like most of you. I had an actual job up until 2005, and I left corporate America in 2005. I was focused on climbing my way up the corporate ladder like, most young guys are. My last role was with a pharmaceutical benefits management company, which is a mouthful to say. But I was the operations manager there. I was responsible for forecasting, scheduling, workforce management for 2 locations and a little over 800 employees. It was a great job. Absolutely loved it. But at the same time, I was working 60, 70 plus hours a week, and it was driving a wedge in my family life. It was driving a wedge between my wife and myself. So took a vacation, reset, came back in, and I quit. I chose my wife over my family, or chose my wife over my work, and just kind of went from there. It's the best decision I ever made. And initially, I got started in real estate investing, but then I turned my sights over to internet marketing, trading, and trading coaching. And those are things I could do without physically needing to be somewhere. So hence my earlier statement about designing my life around things that I enjoy. And for years, I've worked behind the scenes. I've helped a lot of coaches and traders as that kind of real-time trading room guy. I was the person that managed the relationships once once people were sold into a certain product. I was the behind the scenes guy that worked with the traders. But middle of last year, I started my own site and just started doing my own thing. It's called MakeMoneyFromYourLaptop.com, and I give away free training, simple strategies, the things I do, just super simple strategies that work. So it's my way of paying it forward and just kind of helping folks wade through the BS that's out there. I'm all about the simple stuff, and that's what you're going to find here as we get into a little more about the actual trading plan here in just a minute. So, what I've learned over the years in trading and working in Forex is Forex is totally different from the markets that are out there. It's its own thing. Forex is different from everything else you're going to see out there, and it has to be traded differently, at least slightly. We need to look at it differently. I shouldn't say it has to be traded differently, but you do need to look at the Forex market a bit differently. You can the simple strategies are the simple strategies. Have a strategy, but in order to really get the most out of that strategy, we need to look at Forex in the right way. And once I started learning about how Forex worked and really started looking at it in a different manner, that helped me really grow by leaps and bounds. Also, over time, I've learned that you really don't need a lot of experience to be successful in trading. You need a good coach. You need a good trading method that you can follow. Simple strategies work. They absolutely do. But you have to work the simple strategy. The simple strategy is people often want to overcomplicate things. Go, oh, simple strategies don't work. But the reality is we overcomplicate it, and then we make it not simple anymore, and we don't work. So you've got to work those simple strategies if you're going to have them work for you. The markets are fairly random, but an edge can be found. We're going to show you a little bit more about that here in just a moment. But really, any trading method that you utilize gives you a trading edge, as long as you execute that edge, right? And when you exploit that edge with good money management, that's where you get the trading success. I've also learned the psychology of trading can turn any good system into a bad system, and it does it very rapidly. So you've got to work on your mindset. I don't know if Norm's speaking at this event, but if he's not, just a quick shout out for Norm Hallett. Norm is a good friend of mine. He's a trading coach. He works specifically with traders to help you get the right mindset. Seek him out. If he's not speaking here over one of the 3 days, I don't remember if he was on the roster or not, but seek out Norm Hallett. Amazing guy, amazing trading coach. He'll help you with the mindset there. And that's what makes it all easier said than done, unfortunately. Mainly because we typically get in our own way. But trading at its overall is fairly simple, and the simple strategies can work there. So again, the method I'm going to show you here in just a moment, the way I look at the markets, is something I've been doing since 2012, and I really can't see a more accurate way of looking at Forex than this. So my hope is by the end of the training, you'll see how the pieces slot together and see how this can work in with other things that you're currently doing. So with that said, let's go ahead and get on to it and start chunking things down. So the problem, I think, really is we've got some things that are holding us back. You know, trading looks simple, and it is, but there's also something that's missing, and it might be some little thing, and that's where trainings like this, these multi-speaker events are really good, because you can learn from different people, and you can find that there might be that one or two things that you just simply haven't learned yet or haven't grasped yet that gives you that aha moment. But I know a lot of times as we're starting out, we're asking ourselves, you know, we're struggling along and we're going, God, what am I missing? What don't I know? What do they, you know, the big ominous they, what do they know that I don't know? You know, and we're frustrated. You know, I've been there. When I first started out in trading, I got knocked for a loop. You know, like a lot of people, I started out and, you know, I had a few great trades in a row, and I was like, man, this is easy. I'm all about this, and then bam, you know, trading hands you your ass. But you learn from it. You've got to learn from it. And you ask yourself those questions, and you know, you keep attending in events, and you get training, and you talk to the right people, and that's just it. People share. And when you find the right information, you're able to take that and move forward with it. And it changes the way you look at things. And that's what happened with me. I found someone that they shared some great information. It changed the way I looked at Forex. And that's what really helped me. So when you sit down to trade, what you do is you look at a chart, right? You're going to pull up a chart and you're going, all right, I'm ready to trade. Got my chart up, let's go. And you pull up a chart, and you want to know something about what's going on. So maybe you add some trend lines, and you add some moving averages, or, you know, MACD, or support or resistance, or fibs, or Ichimoku cloud, or I don't care, you know, any indicator. You throw indicators on there and have a look at what the market's going on. And the indicators are just filters, right? They're just filters that we view the market through. I hope you guys understand that. Indicators aren't anything that's really predictive. They're allowing you to view the market through kind of a filter and filter out what's happening in the noise of that market. And ultimately, though, when you do those things, you're trying to figure out where's price going to go next. So, you know, if I put this chart up here for you, and you're looking at this chart as I'm talking right now, and if I asked you where's price going to go next, you know, some folks are going to look at this, and, you know, they might see a break of a short-term trend line, and they think it's going to go up. And other folks might see, you know, that we're hitting resistance, and they're going, wow, it's going to go down. So end of the day, you're going to have everybody looking at the same chart, and you're going to have multiple answers. Some folks think it's going to go up, and some folks think it's going to go down. All right, that's great. Here's the thing. When we're trading in Forex and we're looking at that individual chart by itself, it's almost worthless, right? It doesn't really reveal too much about the market. And I'm kind of pausing for dramatic effect there, because here's the thing. You know, we look at Forex the same way we look at stocks and commodities, you know, and futures. And it makes sense because the charts are the same. They all contain price bars. You know, we're looking at these charts, and we see high, low, open, and close. You know, we see price bars. And the price bars, when we look at a chart, it's the same if we look at the Euro USD chart, and it's the same if we look at an oil chart, right? We see price bars. So when we see these price bars, we automatically want to think that this currency pair can be traded in the exact same way, because it's showing us the information that we see everywhere else in the market, whether we're looking at stocks or indexes or, you know, futures or whatever it might be. However, if we're only looking at that currency pair chart, or any, you know, whether it's the Euro USD or the pound yen or any individual chart, that's a fundamental mistake in the currency markets. Because here's the thing, Forex is not like other markets. The charts are not like other charts. It's important to realize that. What we're seeing when we look at something like a stock or gold or oil, or, you know, an index like the S&P, the price we see about that instrument is contained, or the price information that we're looking at there is what we need to see about what that instrument is doing. But when we're trading in Forex, that chart information isn't unique to that pair, right? Because here's the thing, if we're looking at a Euro USD chart, the Euro USD is not a standalone entity. Oil is a standalone entity that we can trade. You know, the S&P is a standalone thing that we can trade. But when we're trading in Forex and we're looking at the Euro USD, we're not seeing the URSD is not a thing. There's no such thing as the URSD, right? It's made up of two things. It's the euro, right? It's the exchange rate between the euro and the USD. So what we're seeing here is what we would get if we traded one for the other. So the euro is a thing by itself, and the euro and the USD is a thing by itself. They're two separate markets. They're their own thing, right? The euro USD is just showing us the exchange rate if we traded one for the other, right? So it's the same thing. Like if we put up this fictional chart of gold and oil, right? Gold is a market, oil is a market. The gold oil chart, which is a fictional chart, would just be telling us the exchange rate if we were going to swap barrels of oil for bars of gold, right? That's all it would be telling us. But it looks the same as every other chart, right? But it's fictional. If we were going to really trade this, if we were actually going to trade oil versus gold and trade barrels of oil for bars of gold, we'd probably have to know some other things, right? We'd have to know, what's the gold market doing? What's the oil market doing? Which one's going up? Which one's going down? You know, if the gold market is going up because the price of gold was increasing and the oil market was going down because the price of oil was falling, then we'd want to be able to trade in that direction. We'd want to be able to buy one and sell the other. It's the same thing that we'd be looking at when we're trying to trade Forex, right? So we'd want to buy the rising commodity, sell that falling commodity. So when we're trading like the Euro USD, coming back to this chart, what we'd want to do is we'd want to look at what's happening in the Euro market, and then we want to know what's happening in the USD market as a whole to determine what's driving the move, what's driving that price move. You know, once we get a better idea of what's happening there, then we can get a better idea of where that exchange rate might be going. So that's the first piece here. You know, the Forex market is not made up of individual charts. It's made up of individual currencies, right? So don't look at charts, let's look at the currencies, right? For a currency trader, we're not a pair chart trader. You know, George Soros, for example, he's a currency trader. He's not a pair chart trader. He doesn't pick his, you know, Euro USD chart and that's all he looks at. You know, he's looking at currencies as a whole. And there's 8 major world currencies, and there are some that are coming up, but the still the most widely regarded majors are the euro, the USD, the pound, yen, CAD, Swissy, Aussie, and New Zealand. Those are the 8 major currencies, and they're all separate markets. They're all their own market, right? What we see on charts is when we combine those. So when we combine those 8 major currencies, we get 28 different currency pairings. So if we're just looking at a chart by itself, we're seeing a fraction of the market. We're seeing just a tiny piece of the actual market that's out there. So that's why when I say, if we look at the Euro USD chart by itself, the information we're seeing basically has no information, right? It's not that valuable to us. And that's because we're missing the other 90+% of the market that's out there. So the majority of information that's influencing that exchange rate, we're missing it because we're focused just on this one chart, right? We need to see what's happening in the rest of the market. So if we want to trade the Euro USD, we need to know what's happening in the Euro. We need to know what's happening in the USD because they're the 2 separate currencies that we want to swap for one another. We want to know which one's strong, which one's weak, which one's the rising asset, which one's the falling asset. That's going to help us make our decision, right? So hope that makes some sense to you. I hope if you're a Forex trader, and I'm guessing that if you're here attending the session today, you're focused on Forex. So I hope this gives you one of those aha moments. I hope that's a light bulb that's just gone off, because that's a huge piece that leads to folks' ability to be consistent, start looking at that wider market. Because right now, if you're just looking at that one chart, or that maybe 2 or 3 of your quote favorite pairs, you know, it's like looking at a couple of pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, you know, and trying to figure out what the whole picture is. You know, if somebody hands you 3 pieces of a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, chances are you're not going to know what that complete picture is going to look like when it's completed. And that's why we often struggle when we're in Forex, because we're not using that whole market. And that's just it. People start failing, and then they start thinking the game's rigged. They start thinking the big boys, the market makers, they're out to get me. They're hunting my stop. I hear that all the time. They're hunting my stop. Well, they're not. They're not. The price is moving because the price moves. Forex is a very different market. It's a utilitarian market versus a speculative market like the other markets that we trade. The thing is, when you sit down and you learn from someone that's had access to heads of banks, they've been foreign exchange traders at large banks in the world, they're going to laugh at those conspiracy theories. It's just absolutely not true. The Forex market is one of the most level playing fields that's out there. It's definitely the least manipulated market. And we see a lot of market manipulation, especially look at our indexes right now, stock markets right now. You think there's not manipulation there. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. I think that's off putting my tinfoil hat and go down a rabbit hole over there. But Forex is not a manipulated market. Now I know as I say that, some folks are going to go, well, a few years back we heard banks were fixing LIBOR, but reality is that had nothing to do with intraday trading at all. It wasn't what the news reported. There's no price manipulation against the little guy in Forex. No one's out to get you. It is definitely the easiest market to trade when you look at that complete market. Now, of course, you can think the big boys are out to get you. And if you truly believe that, I would say just stop, just give up. Because if you really believe that someone's out to get you and they're hunting your stops and they're doing all these things against the little guy, just stop. I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. If you really think it's rigged, you're never going to succeed. Or you could just accept that maybe you haven't been looking at all the information, and that might be throwing a wrench into the things that you're trying to achieve there. I know for me, it was a huge piece of relief when I discovered that there was another way to look at the market and see more of what was actually going on in the Forex. It was kind of that road to salvation out there. So hopefully, by now, you've seen that just the initial explanation and the examples we've shown about looking at the full market versus individual currencies makes sense. And hopefully that changes your perspective of just a bit on the Forex market in general. I hope you can see how that logic works. But of course, just that theory with no practical application doesn't make any sense to you. So let's dig in a bit more and go a little bit deeper here. So if you want to trade that Euro USD, we've determined that we need to know what's going on with the Euro and what's going on with the USD. We need to know what those two separate markets are doing before we can figure out how we want to exchange them from one another. So how do we do that? Well, what the pros do is they start looking at individual currencies. So they use tools that split down the market. They use tools to knock the market down from all of those pair charts down into eight major currencies, and then they start assessing each currency by itself. And of course, this is just an example. I'm going to show you another way to do this here in just a second, but just bear with me while we go through kind of the example and set the foundation before we start looking at tools to do this. But ultimately what we're doing is when we split the market down like this, we can see very quickly at a glance which currencies are strong and are trending up and which ones are weak and are trending down. So we want to know overall of the 8 major currencies, what's happening with each of those. And again, when we're looking at that individual chart, we're not seeing that information. So we need to break it down. We want to be able to see that. We want to be able to find that strong currency pair, or that strong currency rather by itself, and pair it against a weak currency, right? That'd be powerful. If we can find out which currency is actually being bought overall and pair that against a currency that's moving down, it's being sold off, now we've got some opportunity. We've got that strong currency, weak currency. That's giving us the opportunity to find that best trend in the market. Remember, we talked very early on that we want to be able to find the trends and take advantage of those trends. When we see something like this, that allows us to take advantage, find that pairing that gives us the best opportunity for trend. It doesn't mean it's going to trend forever, but it gives us the best opportunity to find that entry point, right? We're looking at buying that rising asset and falling or selling that falling asset, right? We're buying strength, we're selling weakness. That's fundamentally what it's all about. We can also see if we've got a flat currency. So, if we're looking at a flat currency and there's another flat currency, we know those are going to be flat. If we pair those two together, not much is happening. That's that sideways choppy market. So we can avoid that. You know, let's find the currencies that have some movement, trade those, get away from those other ones. And that's why some people find it easier to trade and some people find it hard to trade. They're locked away in a small corner looking at basically worthless information on a single pair chart without looking at that full marketplace that's out there. So we want to be able to use all of that information that's available to us to make that trading decision. We want to be able to find out what's going on in that larger marketplace and then pick the pair that has the best opportunity for movement. So instead of focusing on a pair individually and hoping that it moves, let's find the pair that has the best opportunity to move, right? So again, hopefully that's something that's a bit of a revelation to you because you probably haven't been doing that right now. So I think that gives you the ability to see that there is a clear advantage when we're able to look at those individual currencies rather than individual charts. The game's not rigged, there's no conspiracy. All we really have to do is start to look at and just incorporate this into your regular trading plan. Before you make a decision, let's see, am I trading something that actually is pairing strength against weakness, that's giving me that opportunity for movement as I'm applying that with my break of a trend line, or as we're coming to a support or resistance level, or looking at the fibs, or how it's playing out within the Ichimoku cloud or whatever it might be, right? We want to be able to see the individual currencies, and we need a tool that can split that down for us. And just so happens I have one. I'm giving you for free. Again, I'm not selling anything today. It's available on my website. It's available for MT4. And you just go into my website, register, go into the tools section, and you'll see a currency strength indicator that you can get. And I'll give you a link at the end of this so that you can get in there and get that. But what it's doing is it's basically taking all the individual currencies, just like we had just talked about, and it overlays them on top of one another. So it makes this very simple, easy to use analysis that allows us to see very quickly what currencies are strong and what currencies are weak, and then which ones are flat. So we can avoid those. We don't want to trade the flat currencies. We want to trade the ones that are trending and have the opportunity to potentially continue trending, right? It's simple. We're just strength against weakness. It's the most probably fundamental principle of trading markets since the markets began, right? Buy strength, sell weakness. I mean, that's what it's all about. So incorporate that into your other trading. When something goes into a sideways range, we see it. We can stay away from it. We can stay out. When things go back to trending, we can go back in. Just applying that technique with your other trading methods gives you that opportunity to see the full market and adapt. And that way you can take fewer losses and potentially get more wins out of it. So let's take it a step further. And if you're just using currency strength, let's talk about how we can utilize that as a technique at the open of a market session. How could we apply this type of trading, just this type of trading, without even incorporating it in anything else? How could we apply this and utilize it? Well, no doubt you've heard of breakouts. Breakout strategies are great strategies. Love breakout strategies. They're super simple strategies. You can, if you haven't heard of them, I'm sure most people on here have, because it's traders that are on here. But if you haven't, go and just do some research. Look up New York breakout or London breakout, and there's some super simple strategies, and they're very popular, and they do work very well. Coming back to that whole thing, simple strategies do work, but you've got to work the simple strategy. We get in our own way all the time. We want to overcomplicate things so badly that we will just take the most simple thing and just screw it up because we want to overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. It's really easy. When a financial center opens, like London or New York, all we would do is you put a bracket above, the opening price, a certain level above the opening price. You put a bracket, at a certain level below the opening price. And if price falls, you sell it, and if price rises, you buy it, right? Pretty darn simple. And again, it's effective, it's proven, it does work. The only problem is that there's randomness in the marketplace, right? It's fairly random. And if we're just simply blindly trading that strategy on a specific currency pair every day, hoping for the best, we're not really going to get the most out of that strategy. So how much more effective could that strategy be if we were only trading a breakout on a currency pairing that had a strong currency matched against a weak currency, right? That might be a little better versus just picking a pair and doing that strategy and hoping for the best, right? If we were able to look for currency strength and find a currency that had weakness and pair those together and then put that breakout on that specific currency pairing that was actually moving and had some volatility in the market, that might give us a better condition, right? But we're not just going to trade that one individual currency. I mean, one day we might be looking at the euro yen because that's where strength and weakness happen to be. Maybe the next day we're trading the pound versus the USD, and the next day we're trading the euro versus the pound, whatever it might be, right? We're going to trade where the market gives us that best opportunity. We're going to go where the opportunity exists in order to give us that highest probability for a move. I mean, again, simple stuff. This can be simple, it can be easy, and it can be effective as long as you do the simple stuff and don't overcomplicate it, right? All we would do is we just simply look at the currency strength tool in the morning or before that market session begins, find out which markets are moving up, which markets are moving down, pair those against each other. That's how we're going to pick our pair. And then we trade a breakout in the direction that makes sense based on the trend that we're seeing with the currencies that are being bought, currencies are being sold, right? So that's all it really takes. I mean, picture yourself at the end of the day, if you implement a simple technique, a simple strategy like that, you'll have a lot more confidence and you're going to have a lot less stress. And that's the way professionals trade. They keep things fairly simple with strategies that they can implement the same way over and over and over, right? So imagine, it'd probably make your life a lot more simple, a lot more profitable in the long run, and probably more enjoyable as well. Because when you've got the confidence, you certainly enjoy more of what you're doing at the end of the day, right? And I think it would help your win rate go up almost instantly because you're finding out, you're laser targeting in those strongest currencies against the weakest. So you're stacking the odds in your favor. It's kind of like playing craps with loaded dice at that point. So you get a much better probability of winning more than you're losing over that long run. Now, of course, you're going to take losses, guys. I mean, there's no strategy in the world ever that doesn't have losses. Just that's part of it. I mean, this morning I traded my strategy. I took a loss. I don't typically take a full loss. Typically price moves in my favor, and I take a fraction of a percent for a loss. But this morning, it touched me and it went directly against me. That happens. That's part of trading. So I'm not here trying to spout some nonsense that this is going to change your life and rays of sunshine are going to come out and every trade's going to be a winner from here on out, because that's not true. But it does give you an ability to stack the odds in your favor by looking at trades that have that higher probability, because you're trading strength against weakness and finding a currency pairing that makes sense based on the individual currencies that are actually moving, right? And that's what it's all about. That is keeping it simple. That's one of the keys to success of any trading method, is keeping it simple. And when you incorporate that currency strength analysis into your current trading plan, it helps you have just another level of certainty around what's happening and what's doing. So, pick any system, any trading strategy that you want. Doesn't matter what rules you use. Doesn't matter what time frame you're using or indicators that you're using. Just apply it. Apply it to your favorite system, and then add the currency strength analysis in as that final confirmation before you actually make your entry, right? So I hope that all makes sense. I hope that's given you a bit of an eye-opening opportunity, because trading isn't as hard as people think it is. We get in our own ways. That's where the mindset stuff comes in. That's a huge piece of it. Mindset is a huge piece. But also, getting that full picture when we're trading Forex, as opposed to just focusing on that one chart, or those 3 charts, your 3 favorite charts. Getting that full picture, that's going to help you along. So I hope that makes sense for you. Let's keep going. I've given you the keys to a proven, simple strategy. So all you have to do at this point is really execute consistently. I mentioned earlier I hid the chat so I don't get distracted by questions, but we're going to pop over in just a minute, and I'll answer questions about trading Forex, answer questions about currency strength, answer whatever other questions you might have with any time I've got left. So we'll run through those. But what I really wanted to do this morning was just give you something quick, give you an overview of the key information, right? These are the keys of the information that's out there, but it's really kind of the tip of the iceberg. If you're someone that really wants to know more, you really want to dig in a bit more, I do have some free training on my site. Again, as I mentioned before, I have nothing to sell you. Terrible business model. I have nothing to sell you. I trade the markets every day. This is my way of giving back. So I have a full course that's online. It's out there. I break down all the pieces of this process and go into a little bit more depth, because there's a lot more that we need to know. We need to understand more about how the currency markets move. We need to understand more about what drives price in one direction versus the other. There's some other checks and balances that we need to do if we're going to trade just with currency strength. But it is available out there. You just go to my website, which is makemoneyfromyourlaptop.com, and I'll give you that full system. I'll give you a way even to automate some of the things that I've talked about here. So the tools are available on the website. Everything's there. You register and you go into the members area and you'll find it. You've got all the lessons that are there and the path to Forex success. And you've got your trading tools over here for MT4 in there as well. So you can find those trading tools. You can find all the training videos about how you actually implement the things that we've been talking about today. And I've got it broken down into 6 lessons, again, all for free. You learn about what makes the Forex market different, why the techniques that are designed for other markets don't just work. There's a little more that's needed with them. I'm not saying you can't use support, resistance, trend lines, fibs, whatever you want to use to block to look at the market, but Forex is different. It's utilitarian versus speculative. It moves differently. There's different things driving it, and we need to understand the differences in the marketplace in order to be effective when we're trading it, right? In lesson 2, I help you with developing your trading edge, because you've got to have an edge. You've got to be able to look at things in odds and probabilities. That's another downfall. A lot of traders mistake odds and probabilities as certainties. They're not certainties. Even if you have very high odds of something occurring, high odds are not certainties ever. So you've got to think that through. Develop a trading edge, and then you start thinking in odds and probabilities. And we talk a little bit about that. I talk about that quite a bit in my morning sessions that I do that are out there. In lesson 3, I dig in a little bit more about what actually makes price move, why price is more likely to go in one direction than the other, how that works with bids that are in the marketplace, what causes these things to occur, what causes them to move. Then I get into the actual currency strength chart. We talk about a little bit more about what it is, how it works, how to use it. I don't remember if I put the math behind it or not. I really don't recall. If I didn't, I'll share that math with you. I mean, it's all there. It's not any secret. None of this stuff is secret. There's nothing, by the way, just a quick sidebar, there's nothing at all in trading ever that's a secret. Everything that's ever been done or will be taught has been taught before. It's just being packaged and said in a different way. And really what it comes down to is finding that method that speaks to you, finding that coach or that mentor that speaks to you, and following those guys, or gals, and that's what it's all about. There are no secrets in this marketplace. Anyone that says they've got a secret, just walk away, because there's no secret. Anyway, then in lesson 5, get into some other considerations. As I mentioned, if you're just trading with currency strength, there's other things that you need to look at, and it's really, if you're trading with anything for that matter, we need to give some consideration to what's happening with volume, what direction is volume taking us as well, what's the average trade range for the day, or do we really have an opportunity, if we're an intraday trader, for it to continue with that current trend that is developed over the course of the day so far? Is there really an opportunity for it to continue moving? We talk about those other considerations that need to be brought into place. And then in lesson 6, I kind of put it all together, walk through some trades, show you how to make sense out of that full system. And again, it's all free. I'm not charging you anything for. On a daily basis, I have a Facebook page that's out there for Make Money From Your Laptop, and I do daily analysis on the Forex markets. I also talk about what's happening in futures and crypto, because I trade those markets as well. But I place trades every single day utilizing the method that I just showed you today and that I talk about on the website. Very simple strategies. It's super simple stuff. And some people go, oh, that's too easy. It's only too easy because you want to overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Don't get in your own way. And then, I usually get on some kind of a soapbox every day, about following your plan or testing your plan or just having a plan in general, maybe about odds and probabilities. I don't know. But I do stuff every day out there in that market as well. But that's it. That's it, guys. There's some advanced tools that you could buy on the site, but that's not what this is about. Everything you need to learn to trade and learn what I talked about today, if you want to dive a little bit deeper into how to utilize this stuff with your other trading styles, is out there, and it's all for free. So there you have it. Links for, oh man, going from Mac over to PC, put this on a different line. That sucks. Anyway, MakeMoneyFromYourLaptop.com is my main website. If you're a Facebooker, you can go to that page on Make Money at Facebook.com MMFYL. That'll get you over there. So with that said, let me get this out of the way over here and see if we had any questions or stuff that's coming in that I need to answer for you. Let's see here. Let me go back up. I'm not sure. Let me see which ones of these were questions for Valerie and which ones came in after. Gert got us coffee. Awesome, Gert. I know we were a little late getting started, so I was glad you had a chance to do that. How do you do that? Okay, so we talked about how you do it. I gave you we talked about the tool. I'm just kind of running through the comments down here and see what questions were out there. You've got it on TradingView. Graham's already got it on TradingView. That's awesome. I have a TradingView indicator. I don't know if I put it online or not, but yeah, I have one on TradingView as well. I use TradingView for my crypto stuff. I don't really use it that much in Forex. I'm an MT4. I got started with MT4, and I've never really moved away from it. I love TradingView. I don't know why I don't do more there. And I use TradeStation for my futures trading. Anyway. So questions, Graham, what is a good session to assess the currency strength? So here's the thing. London and US, I think, are the best sessions to trade, in my opinion. And obviously you're going to get different opinions from every person that comes on here today. And that's the beauty of these multi-speaker events. Everyone's got something amazing to share that they utilize, and it's going to be great for some people, and maybe won't speak to you from others. But take what speaks to you and do more of that, right? Find that trading method that's going to work best for you. So anyway, back to sessions. London and US, I like. London typically just kind of gets moving right out of the gate. So breakout sessions in London are awesome. The US session, the US trading session for Forex starts at 8 a.m. Eastern US time. But then you've got some wrenches thrown in there. We often have news events that occur 30 minutes in. So we've got big, major US news that comes out around 8:30. And then we've got the regular trading hours for the stock market opening at 9:30. So for US, while sometimes you see really nice signals right out of the gate, sometimes it's better to wait until closer to that 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. time, Eastern time, after we've gotten through that news. Because for me, I don't like the uncertainty of news, and spreads widen. If you really watch on high impact news, you'll see spreads go crazy, which has to do with market makers removing orders and where they're willing to buy or sell spreads, because there's uncertainty around that news event causes things to widen. I don't like that. especially when you're trading slower time or lower time frames, you end up potentially getting knocked out, of your trade just simply by the facet of the spreads widening. So it's not a great thing for me. So anyway, uh, sessions London US I feel like are the best. So anyway, there you go. Uh, yeah, okay, so when's the time not to trade? You already hit that. News, we talked about that. Um, later into the day US time, it's just slow, and especially at the start of the Australasian market, there's not a lot of volume, there's not a lot of volatility. Again, the spreads are wide. It's just a higher cost of doing business. So, opening of London, opening of the US, great times to trade. Best time frame, it depends what time frame you're trading, Syed. So best time frame to make use of it. If you're trading a breakout at the beginning of a session, I base mine on a 5 minute. Some people base it on a 1 minute. It just really comes down to what works best for you. I would test it out for a little while and see what is speaking to you. Obviously, if you're looking at it on a 5 minute, you're seeing more of the trend moving into the new session. So you're seeing a few hours of data versus just the last few minutes of data, right? So looking at that a slightly longer time frame for that opening momentum, I feel like is good, because you're short enough of a time frame that you have that intra time frame chop that's occurring, so you can see that momentum, but it's long enough that you're not getting distracted by those quick moves up and down, and you're seeing more of that trend that's going on. So I like the M5 for looking at it. Let's see what else we have here. Leonardo, hey man, yeah, thank you. How many percentage do you think is good for a month? Man, that's a slippery slope. Never. Yeah. So here's the thing, guys. This comes back to trading psychology. I know my time is about to come to an end here, but trading psychology, guys, it all comes down to thinking in first in odds and probabilities. Secondly, focusing on the process. It's so easy as traders to get focused on the outcome and look at, was I positive or was I negative today? Did I make money or did I lose money? And we get into this mindset of, we got to make money. I got to make money. I got to make money. I got to make money. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous. When we start focusing on how many percent I need to make a month or a day or a week or whatever it might be, we get focused on the outcome. And it's really more about the process. Everything in trading is about the process. We've got to have a consistent process that we can execute over and over and over. And when we focus on the process, we're now in control of our wins for the day, because our win for the day should be, did I stick to the process? Did I follow the process? Did I execute my trading plan? Not so much did I win money or lose money. Because if you have a solid trading plan and you've got a trading edge and you're using good money management, the money comes in time. And it's one of those things where it's odds and probabilities. Casinos aren't worried about, the last 5 hands that they lost at blackjack. They know that over time they have an edge. That's the same way we should look at it in trading, is over time we have an edge. So I would get away, put that out of your head of what percentage do I need to make a day or a month or a week or whatever it might be, and just focus on the actual process. What's the trading handle? I don't trade stuff. Well, I mean, MMFYL. I don't publish anything in TradingView. Let's see, just kind of popping through here. Yeah, you're welcome, guys. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Do I use an algo or experts in MT4? Yeah, there's one on the website. It's in that in the members area. It's just simply a breakout EA. So once you figure out which currency you want to trade, which pairing we want to trade, so we're looking at strong and weak, we're identifying which currency pairing you want to trade. You do the other considerations that I talk about in the training, and then you put that on and you hit, if you're going to buy or sell, and it manages the trade for you. Yeah, that's on there. It's in there. Uh-oh, you got an error message. What the heck? What's up with that, Val? Hit me on Facebook. Facebook/MMFYL. You can go in there. I'll figure out what's going on with the error. That's really strange. Really odd. Trading plan to be reliable. Yep. Yeah, I'll throw that. Oh, cool, man. Thanks, David. You threw it in there already. Website and chat. Yep. It's all free, Jonathan. I don't have anything. I'm, like I said, terrible business model. I'm not here selling anything. I'm just giving content. You know, I just wanted to come on and talk to you about stuff. So there you have it. So I think I've hit my time, David. If I'm up, I'll let you get on and get the next speaker rolling in.